Aprameyasya immeasurable. Sharirina embodied soul. Uktaha are said to be antavantaha perishable. Tasmat therefore Bharato Arjun Yuddhasva fight. The material bodies of the Jivatma, who is eternal, indestructible and immeasurable, are known to be perishable. Therefore Arjuna fight. To clarify the meaning of Nasato Vidyate Bhava, Shri Bhagavan speaks this shloka beginning with Antavanta. The word Sharirina has been used to describe the embodied Jiva. Aprameyasya means the Jivatma is very difficult to understand because he is extremely subtle. Extremely subtle. Tasmat Yuddhasva means therefore fight. Based on these arguments, Krishna concludes that it is completely improper to give up one's swadharma, which is prescribed in Shastra. So everyone has one religion to follow. Everyone has some duty. And we have to do our duty. We cannot give up our duty, whatever may be the case. So, here Krishna is again and again telling Arjuna that don't give up our duty. So, let's now study the explanation of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj from his most popular Bhagavad Gita as it is. And he gave us the correct interpretations of Bhagavad Gita. Previous to him, many people wrote commentaries on Gita, but many of them tampered with the message. While Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj never tampered with the message, he gave as it is. Antavanta ime deha nitya sokta sharirina anashino prameyasya tasmad yuddhasva bharata. Antavantaha, perishable. Ime, all these, deha, material bodies. Nityasya, eternal in existence. Ukta are said. Sharirina, of the embodied soul. Anashina, never to be destroyed. Aprameyasya, immeasurable. Tasmat, therefore, yuddhasva, fight. Bharata, or descendant of Bharat. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, or descendant of Bharat. Purport. The material body is perishable by nature. It may perish immediately or it may do so after 100 years. It is a question of time only. There is no chance of maintaining it indefinitely. But the spirit soul is so minute that it cannot even be seen by an enemy. To say nothing of being killed. As mentioned in the previous verse, it is so small that no one can have any idea how to measure its dimension. So from both viewpoints, there is no cause of lamentation. Because the living entity, as he is, cannot be killed, nor can the material body be saved for any length of time or permanently protected. The minute particle of the whole spirit acquires this material body according to his work. And therefore, observance of religious principles should be utilized. In the Vedanta Sutra, the living entity is qualified as light because he is part and parcel of the Supreme Light. As sunlight maintains the entire universe, so the light of the soul maintains this material body. As soon as the spirit soul is out of this material body, the body begins to decompose. Therefore, it is the spirit soul which maintains this body. The body itself is important. The body itself is unimportant. Arjuna was advised to fight, not sacrifice the cause of religion for material bodily considerations. So this is the message here. Arjuna is told to fight here. That it is your duty to fight, and You should not give up fighting. So, Antavanta ime deha nitya sukta sharirina anashino apramesya tasmad yuddhasva bharata. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharat. So, very inspiring verse. You should always remember this verse. Now, another argument. This is all logic Krishna is giving. Yainam vetti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tau na vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate. Yah, anyone who enam this vetti knows hantaram, the killer, yah, who also enam this manyate things hatam killed ubhav both tau they na never vijanita are in knowledge na never I am this hanti na hanyate is killed. Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer nor he who thinks it is slain is in knowledge, for the self slays nor is slain. When the embodied living entity is hurt by fatal weapons, it is to be known that the living entity within the body is not killed. The super soul is so small, the spirit soul is so small, that it is impossible to kill him by any material weapon. As will be evident from subsequent verses, nor is the living entity killable because of his spiritual constitution. What is killed or is supposed to be killed is the body only. This, however, does not at all encourage killing of the body. The Vedic injunction is, because someone might say that, oh, Bhaktivedanta Sai Maharaj is telling that if you kill the body, the soul doesn't die, so let's kill the bodies. How does it matter? So someone may take advantage of this argument and start ruthlessly killing others. No. The Vedic injunction is Ma Himsyat Sarva Bhutani. Never commit violence to anyone. Nor does understanding that the living entity is not killed encourage animal slaughter. Killing the body of anyone without authority is abominable and is punishable by the law of the state as well as by the law of the Lord. Arjuna, however, is being engaged in killing for the principle of religion and not whimsically. Understand? So neither he who thinks the living entity, the slayer, nor he thinks its slain is in knowledge, for the self slays not is slain. Srila Vishwanath Thakur comments, the self is neither the subject of the act of killing nor is its object. He who thinks that the soul is the killer, that Arjuna is killing Bhishma and others, and he who thinks that the soul is killed, that Bhishma and others have been killed by Arjuna, are both ignorant. No one can truly kill or be killed. Krishna elaborates on this point in the next verse. So, Yenam vetti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tau na vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate. Yeah, he who vetti knows enam, the soul, to be hantaram, the killer, cha, and yeah, who manyate considers enam, the soul, hatam, to be killed, na vijanita, is not in knowledge. Tau ubhau, of the two, I am this, atma, na hanti, does not kill, na hanyate, is killed. He who considers the Jivatma to be either the killer or the killed is ignorant. For the self neither slays nor is slain by anyone. Sarartha Varsini comment. Krishna says of friend Arjuna, you are an Atma and therefore you are neither the subject nor the object of the act of killing. To explain this, Shri Bhagavan is speaking this shloka beginning with the words yayanam. One who thinks that the Jivatma kills, example, Arjuna kills Bhishma, or the Jivatma is killed, Arjuna is killed by Bhishma, is ignorant. Because, O Sakha, why do you fear achieving infamy just because ignorant people will call you the killer of your superiors? Sarartha Varshini Prakashika Vritti. Shri Krishna is instructing Arjuna, you are an Atma, and therefore you are neither the subject nor the object of the verb to kill. Here he is explaining that Arjuna is not the subject, the killer of heroes such as Bhishma. On the opposite side, nor is he the object of the killing done by them. On the other hand, ignorant people who identify the self with the body consider only the gross body to be the subject and object of killing. Krishna concludes, therefore, becoming fully aware of this truth, give up your identification with the gross body and become situated in the nature of the subject, in the nature of the self. Surrendering unto me, fearlessly engage in your swadharma for my pleasure. You should not be in ignorance about this. The same concept is stated in the Shruti. Anta chen manyate hatam, hatascha manyate hatam, ubhauto na vijanito, nayam hanti na hanyate. Kathopanishad 1.2.19. If one who identifies the self with the body thinks that he will kill someone, and one whose body is being killed thinks that he is killed, both are ignorant. Because the Atma neither kills anyone nor is killed. Now, verse number 20. A very nice verse. Na jayate mriyate va kadachinnayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuya ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano na anyate anyamane sharire. I am this soul, na jayate, does not take birth, va, or mriyate, die, kadachit, at any time, na bhutva, he has not come into being, va, not, bhavita, will he come into being, na, nor bhuyaha, repeatedly accept material bodies. I am, he is ajaha, unborn, nitya, eternal, shashvata, ever existing, and puranaha, primeval. Sharire, when the body hanyamani is destroyed, no hanyate is not killed. The Jivatma neither takes birth nor dies, nor does he experience repeated creation or growth. He is unborn, eternal and ever existing. Though primeval, he remains ever youthful. When the body is destroyed, the Jivatma is not destroyed. To establish the eternality of the Jivatma, Shri Bhagavan is speaking this shloka beginning with the words Na Jayate, in which it is proven that there is never any time when the Jivatma is born or dies. That there was no birth or death for the Jivatma in the past, nor will there be in the future, is proven by the words Nayam Bhutva Bhavita. Shri Bhagavan is further explaining by the use of the word Ajaha that the Jivatma does not take birth either in the past, present or future. Thus he establishes that Jiva also existed in the past. The word Shashvata means that which is ever existing, which is not destroyed in the past, present or future. Therefore the Jivatma is eternal. If one still raises a doubt that because the soul exists for a long time, he may be overpowered by old age, Shri Bhagavan says in response, no, that is not true, because he is Purana. Although he is primeval, he is ever fresh and free from the six types of transformations, including birth and death. If someone then raises the question, will the soul not die, even figuratively, at the death of the body? Shri Krishna answers, no, the soul has no relationship at all with the body. Sarartha Varshini Prakashika Vritti. The eternal nature of the Jivatma has been established in this shloka. He is beyond birth and death and is eternal and ever existing. He is not destroyed when the body is destroyed. Consequently, the Jivatma is devoid of the 6 types of transformations: birth, duration of existence, growth, procreation, diminution, and death. In Kathopanishad 1.2.18, a similar conclusion is given. न जायते म्रियते वा विपश्येन्न नायं कुतश्चिन्न विभुव कश्चित् अजो नित्य शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. The meaning of this shloka is the same as Gita 2.20, but in this shloka there is one special word, vipaschita, which means one who knows the self. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 4.4.25 also verifies this conclusion. Sava Esha Mahat Aja Atmajaro Amaro Amruto Haya. The Atma is indisputably great, unborn, deathless, free from old age, immortal and fearless. So very nice explanation Krishna is giving here. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयात् अजो नित्य शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. न means never. Jayate takes birth. Mriyate dies. Va either. Kadachit at any time, past, present and future. Na never. I am this Bhutva, having come into being, Bhavita, will come to be, Va or no not, Bhuya, or is again coming to be, Ajaha, unborn, Nityaha, eternal, Shashwataha, permanent, I am this, Puranaha, the oldest, Na, never, Hanyate is killed, Hanyamane, being killed. So here, for the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever-existing and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Perfect. Qualitatively, the small atomic fragmental part of the Supreme Spirit is one with the Supreme. He undergoes no change like the body. Similarly, the soul is called the steady or kutastha. The body is subject to 6 kinds of transformations. It takes its birth from the womb of the material nature. So it takes its birth from the womb of the mother's body, remains for some time, grows, produces some effects, gradually dwindles, and at last vanishes into oblivion. The soul, however, does not go through such changes. The soul is not born, but because it takes on a material body, the body takes its birth. The soul does not take birth there. The soul does not die. Anything which has birth also has death. And because the soul has no birth, he therefore has no past, present, and future. He is eternal, ever existing, primeval. That is, there is no trace in history of his coming into being. Under these impressions of the book, under the impression of the body, we seek the history of birth, etc. of the soul. The soul does not at any time become old as the body does. The so-called old man therefore feels himself to be in the same spirit as in his childhood or youth. The changes of the body do not affect the soul. The soul does not deteriorate like a tree, nor anything material. The soul has no byproduct either. The byproduct, the byproducts of the body, the byproducts of the body, namely children, are also different individual souls. And owing to the body, they appear as children of a particular man. The body develops many of the body develops because of the soul's presence, but the soul has neither offshoots nor change. Therefore, the soul is free from the six changes of the body. In the Katha Upanishad, we also find a similar passage which reads, Jayate mriyate va vipaschin nayam kutaschin babuva kaschit ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. The meaning and purport of this verse is the same as in the Bhagavad Gita, but here in this verse, there is one special word, vipaschita, which means learned or with knowledge. The soul is full of knowledge or full always with consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is a symptom of the soul. Even if one does not find the soul within the heart, where he is situated, one can still understand the presence of the soul simply by the presence of consciousness. Sometimes we do not find the sun in the sky owing to clouds or for some other reason. But the light of the sun is always there, and we are convinced that it is there for daytime. As soon as there is a little light in the sky early in the morning, we can understand that the sun is in the sky. Similarly, since there is some consciousness in all bodies, whether man or animal, we can understand the presence of the soul. This consciousness of the soul is, however, different from the consciousness of the Supreme, because the Supreme Consciousness is all knowable, is all knowledge, past, present, and future. The consciousness of the individual soul is prone to be forgetful. When he is forgetful of his real nature, he obtains education and enlightenment from the superior lessons of Krishna. But Krishna is not like the forgetful soul. If so, Krishna's teachings of Bhagavad Gita would be useless. There are two kinds of souls, namely the minute atomic particle souls from Atma and the super soul Vibhu Atma. This is also confirmed in the Katha Upanishad 1.2.20 in this verse. So, there are two kinds of souls, namely the minute particle soul, Anu Atma, and the super soul, Vibhu Atma. This is also confirmed in the Katha Upanishad 1.2.20. In this way, Anor Aniyan Mahato Mahiyan Atma Sejantor Nito Guhayam Tam Akruto Pashyati Vita Shoko Dhatu Prasadan Mahimanam Atmanam. Both the super soul, Paramatma, and the atomic soul, Jivatma, are situated on the same tree of the body within the same heart of the living being. And only one who has become free from all material desires as well as lamentation can, by the grace of the Supreme, understand the glories of the soul. Krishna is the fountainhead of the super soul also, as it will be disclosed in the following chapters. And Arjun is the atomic particle forgetful of his real nature. Therefore, he requires to be enlightened by Krishna or by his bona fide representative, the spiritual master. Hare Krishna. So very nice verse is going on here, explaining the nature of the soul. So verse number 21, but we'll quickly, I think we read about Gurudev's commentary also on this verse. Veda 21. Veda vinashinam nityam yaenam ajam avyayam katham sa purusha partha kam ghateti hantikam. Partha, katham, how, ya, one who Veda knows enam, the soul, to be avinasham, indestructible, nityam, eternally, ajam, unborn, avyatmam, immutable, come, whom, anti, can he kill, come, who, can, sa, that, purusha, person, ghateti, cause to kill. Oh, Partha, how can a person who knows the Atma to be eternally blissless, birthless, immutable and indestructible kill anyone or cause anyone to be killed? Shri Krishna is answering Arjuna, oh Partha, after acquiring this knowledge, you will not be guilty of committing sin even after engaging in battle. And I will also not be guilty of inspiring you to fight. For this purpose, the present shloka beginning with Veda Vinashanam is being spoken. Here the word Nityam is an adverb. The use of the words Avinashi, indestructible, Aja, unborn, and Avyayam, immutable, denies that the Atma can be diminished at all by acts of destruction. Shri Bhagavan says, with this knowledge, how can a person like me, myself, kill anyone or be killed by any means? In same way, how can a person like you kill someone or cause someone to be killed? So, Hare Krishna. So, Bhagavad Gita, very important scripture, but we'll stop today here. Today we went to Sri Kalhasti, the temple of Lord Shiva. And Sri Kalhasti is the place where Lord Shiva's temple was there. There was a Shiva Linga. Apparently, there is Vayu Linga. Vayu Linga means that linga made from the air. So there, the Shiva Linga, one elephant was serving and one who wears the cobwebs. So he was also serving. And then also one snake also was serving. And there was a fight among them. So there is a very nice story there. So very big temple of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is Nimnagana Yatha Ganga Devana Machyutratha Vaishnavana Metha Shambhu Purana Vedam Gatha. Among all the Vaishnavas, Lord Shiva is the greatest. A lot of people got bhakti because somehow or the other they followed Mahashivratri Vrata and therefore they got bhakti. So today we went to the Sri Kalhasti. Very big temple made of stone and humongous temple actually made of stone. It's a really masterpiece, architectural masterpiece. The main deity is Lord Shiva. Srila Gurudev has also mentioned that there are different types of Shiva lingas, and there is a Vayu linga. Apparently this was a Vayu linga made of air. So there are different types of lingas. Srila Gurudev has talked about it in his lectures. That just like in Bhuvaneshwar, Srila Gurudev says in Bhuvaneshwar is a huge Shiva linga, which is famous as Bhuvaneshwar, and from whom the city takes its name. Nearby is the temple of Shri Ananta Vasudev. Formerly, the bhoga offered in this Vasudev Mandir was offered as Mahaprasad to Bhuvaneshwar Mahadev, and Vaishnavas accepted the prasad from Shri Bhuvaneshwar, although they do not accept the prasad from Shri Mahadev anywhere else. So generally in Bhubaneswar, the temple of Bhubaneswar is there, Lord Shiva, but there is also a temple of Vishnu, Ananta Vasudev. So Ananta Vasudev Swami, his Mahaprasad was offered to Lord Shiva. First they used to offer cook for Shri Ananta Vasudev Swami. Then offering to Krishna, then the remnants of Krishna they used to offer to Lord Shiva. So Vaishnavas used to go to the temple of Lord Shiva, Bhubaneswar, and they used to take the prasadam there because they were sure that this was first offered to Vishnu, then to Lord Shiva. Understand? But generally speaking, if the prasad is bhoga is not offered to Lord Krishna first or Lord Vishnu first, and it is offered to demigod any demigod first, then Vaishnavas will not accept that Mahaprasad. Understand? Unfortunately, this custom of first offering bhoga to Vishnu has been stopped. And now Vaishnavas no longer accept Sri Mahadeva's Mahaprasad. They only accept it from the temple of Ananta Vasudeva. So there is Ananta Vasudeva temple and wonderful prasadam is cooked there actually. They cook it in earthen pots and they give plantain leaf, so many types of chutneys, so many types of dal and rice and wonderful actually preparation. Just like Jagannath Puri Mahaprasad is wonderful there. I had the honor so many times with Shripa Dandi Maharaj and other Vaishnavas to go to Bhubaneswar. I go with Shripa Dandi Maharaj, Shripa Shidhar Maharaj. Also I went, I think. And because after Navadvip Parikrama, devotees used to go to Jagannath Puri. Shripa Dandi Maharaj used to take the devotees of Bangalore. I used to accompany them from Bangalore to Jagannath Puri and also to Bhubaneswar. Bhubaneswar is the capital of Odisha. So, so today we went to Shri Kalahasti, and Kala actually means snake. Kala means death, and snake literally means death, so it's called Kala. Hasti means an elephant. In Sanskrit, Hasti means elephant. In Hindi they call Hatti or Hati. Marathi they call Hatti, but in elephant. Elephant is the biggest animal, and so Shri actually means that one who uses the cowbell. So spider is called Shri. So there's a story actually, and also there is actually Lord Shiva's devotee by the name Kannappa. Now this Kannappa is a very famous Shiva devotee. I never understood what his story is actually. But there was actually that Kannappa used to live there in Srikalahasti temple. Kannappa was a staunch devotee of Shiva and is closely associated with Srikalahastishwara temple. He was a hunter and is believed to have plucked his eyes to offer to Srikalahastishwara Linga, the presiding deity of Srikalahasti temple. He is also considered one of the 63 Nayanars or holy Shaivite saints, the staunch devotees of Lord Shiva. Kannappa Nayanar is a South Indian saint, also known as Tinnappan, Dina, Kannappa, Tinnappan, Dhira Bhakta Kannappan, Tinnan, Kannappan, Dinnaya, Kannaya, Kannappa, Nayanar or Nayanmar, Kannan, Bhakta Kannappan or Dhiran. So many names he has actually. In Tamil and I think Telugu and Kannada. He was born in a Vyadha hunter family. He was hunting the animals. The son of Raja Naga Vyadha. His father's name was Raja Naga Vyadha. And his wife is Uddupura, a modern Uttukuru, near Sri Kalahasti in present day Uttukuru, Rajampet, Andhra Pradesh. So he was born in hunter family. His father was a notable gerent among the hunting community. Gerent. Now this word gerent actually a manager actually. Gerent actually means manager, but they use this word which has actually Latin origin or something. Maybe it is had some Latin origin. Anyways, among their and a great Shaiva devotee of Sri Kartikeya. Means he was a devotee of son of Lord Shiva. He was named Thinnan or Thiran in Tamil by his parents, which is known as to Telugu speakers today as Dinna or Dhira, respectively. His wife's name was Neela. When Arjuna was meditating on Lord Shiva for Pashupatastra to test him, Shiva entered this forest as an animal hunter. And due to two arrows from Shiva and Arjuna killing a demon named Mukha, a war started between Shiva and Arjuna. So basically, Arjun once was meditating on Lord Shiva because Lord Shiva has one particular astra called Pashupatastra. Pashupatastra. Like Lord Brahma has Brahmastra, Lord Narayan has Narayanastra. So this Pashupatastra is a very strong weapon. And Arjun wanted to acquire it because he knows that there is going to be a fratricidal war. I have to fight with Kauravas and I must have celestial weapons because Bhishma and Drona also have lots of weapons. So Shiva wanted to test Arjuna's integrity. So he also entered in the forest as an animal hunter. Now there was a demon by the name Mukha. Lord Shiva shot an arrow and Arjuna also shot an arrow. And the demon apparently died. Now imagine if the arrow of Arjuna and arrow of Shiva landed in the chest of that demon at the same time. So there was a debate that who killed really the demon. Because it was at the same moment it attacked both their arrows landed in the heart of landed in the chest of the demon at the same time, killing him. So battle took place between Arjuna and Shiva. And Shiva was impressed by Arjuna's efforts. Shiva gave him the Pashupatastra. According to folklore, Lord Shiva also blessed him to be born as his greatest devotee in his next birth. So he is born again as a devotee in the Kali Yoga as Kannappa Nayanar and finally got liberation. So this is called Kimvadanti or the local Sthala Puran or folklore. Understand? So Kannappa was born as a Thinnan and was a staunch devotee of the Vayulinga at Sri Kalahastishwar temple. So Vayulinga, as you see that there are actually 5 elements. Like Krishna will tell in Bhagavad Gita, Bhumi Rapo Nalo Vayu Khammano Buddhire Vacha Ahankaraityam Me Vinna Prakritir Ashtada. So Bhumi, earth, Apo, water, Vayu, air, Bhumi, Apo, Nalo, Anala means fire, Kham means the sky. So these lingas also made of 5 elements. I remember Gurudev mentioning this. So Shri Kalahastishwar, there's a linga which is air. Means I think it is suspended in the air, I think apparently. Being a hunter, he did not know how to properly worship Lord Shiva. It is said that he poured water from his mouth on the Shiva Lingam, which he brought from the nearby river Swarnamukhi. So that river is almost dried up, we saw today. But he is to bring the water from his mouth, not in any container, but he is to bring in his mouth like this, and he is to offer that water to Lord Shiva right from his mouth. He also offered Lord Shiva whatever animal he hunted, including swine flesh. Generally, there are wild boars. So he used to offer the flesh of these boars also to Lord Shiva. But Lord Shiva accepted his offering since Thinnan was pure at heart and his devotion was true. Once Lord Shiva tested the unshakable devotion of Thinnan. With his divine power, he created a tremor and the rooftops of the temple began to fall. All the priests ran away from the scene except for Thinnan, who covered the linga with his body to prevent it from any damage. Hence, he was named thereafter as Thiram, valiant one. Thinnan noticed that one of the eyes of the Shivalinga was oozing blood and tears. Sensing that Lord Shiva's eye had been injured, Thinna proceeded to pluck his one eye out with one of the arrows and placed it in the spot of the bleeding eye of the Shivalinga. This stopped the bleeding in that eye of the linga. But to complicate matters further, he noticed that the other eye of the linga has also started oozing blood. So Thinna thought that if he were to pluck his other eye too, he would become blind to exactly know the spot where he has to place his own second eye over the bleeding second eye of the lingam. So he placed his great toe on the linga to mark the spot of the bleeding second eye and proceeded to pluck out his other and only eye. Moved by his extreme devotion, Lord Shiva appeared before Thinnan and stopped him from plucking his only eye and restored both his eyes. He made Thinnan the 10th of the 63 Nayanars and he referred to as Kannappa or Kannappa Nayanar. Kannappa merged into the lingam along with Lord Shiva and attained moksha. So anyway, this is actually the story because we saw the picture there. Now couldn't understand that picture. Now something is coming here because Kalahasti, very famous temple. You see here that Kannappa is a hunter and he is apparently placing his toe on the Shiva Lingam to mark where the second eye of Lord Shiva is bleeding. But because he's blind in one eye and he's now going to pluck out his second eye also, so he wants to mark that place, where to place take out my second eye and where to place it on Lord Shiva's eye. He was putting his toe there. So understand. So it may be disrespectful, but he's quite ignorant. Being a hunter, he didn't know how to worship Lord Shiva. So this particular picture is there in the temple also. Anyways. So Kannappa, very great devotee of Lord Shiva. Apparently incarnation of Arjuna. But this is all Sthala Puran. Means like these are called folklores or these are the Kimvadanti. These are the local version of the story. So, but there must be some basis, understand. So anyways, we should not take prasad of any other deity, understand. Because Yanti Deva Vrata Devan, Pitrun Yanti Pitru Vrata, Bhuteni Yanti Bhuteja, Yanti Madhya Jinopima. In the Gita, it is told, Yanti Deva Vrata Devan, Pitrun Yanti Pitru Vrata. And Kamas Tetar Huta Jnana Prapatyanti Anya Devata. Evidence that the results of demigod worship are temporary is found in Padma Purana and elsewhere. Yastu Narayanam Devam Brahma Rudradi Daivatai Samatpyana Viksheta Sa Pashandi Bhavedhruva. Understand? Means if you regard Lord Shiva and Lord Narayan to be on the same level, then you become an atheist immediately. No, Narayan is superior. Narayana Paro Vyakta. Narayan is superior to Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma also. Understand? The demigods cannot relieve us from the vicious cycle of birth and death, nor can they give us Krishna Bhakti. Understand? The demigods cannot help us. They cannot relieve us from the vicious cycle of birth and death, and they cannot give us, and can they give us Krishna Bhakti? Understand? And the second point is that in Padma Puran, demigod worship is provided for Ekantik Vaishnavas. The performance of demigod worship is considered to be Namaprad. Understand? In Padma Puran, one Namaprad is worshipping demigods. Shastric evidences are even cited in Shri Satkryasar Deepika to prohibit Ekantik Vaishnavas from performing demigod worship. When the opposite side heard Srila Gurudev's vigorous lecture, they became speechless. Understand? So here, Param Gurudev is telling us these nice things. So those who worship Krishna, they go to Krishna's planet. Bhagavad Gita also Krishna is telling, Antavantu phalam tesham tad bhavati alpamedasam devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. However, the result of the worship performed by those people of meager intelligence is perishable. The worshippers of the devatas, demigods, attain the demigods' planets, and my devotees attain me. Understand? And giving up Krishna giving up Krishna to worship various other devatas has been called unlawful. Yepyanyanya devata bhaktya yajante shraddhayanvita tepi mameva kaunteya yajanti avidipurvakam. Bhagavad Gita 9.23. Whatever a man may sacrifice to the devatas, O son of Kunti, is really meant for me alone, but it is offered without true understanding. People are worshipping demigods, they are making offerings to demigods. Actually, those offerings go to Krishna only. They are meant for Krishna only, but they are offering without true understanding. So some people say that Vishnu, Ganesh, Durga, Kali and Shiva are all one and the same. There is no fundamental or intrinsic difference between them. They are different in name only, and the result of worshipping all of them is the same. However, the account is not in agreement with the Shastras. Understand? No. If you worship demigods, you'll go to the planets of the demigods. And if you worship Krishna, then you'll go to the planet of Lord Krishna. Understand? So this is very, very important to remember. Yanti deva vrata devan pitruni yanti pitra vrata bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti madhya jinopi mam. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So Panchakalpatrubhesya kripa sindhuvajapatyanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. If anyone has any questions or comments, please ask. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavad Pranams. Thank you so much for all your time. And you're always coming on to class and you're giving us your time. We much appreciated.
Actually, someone is asking that picture of Kalahasti temple. Actually, yes. Shri Kalahasti temple, I think no one should miss it. No one should miss it. Because I would say it is one of the most amazing temple I have seen. There's a nearby a hill there, and there's a hill, and on that hill, big deities of Lord Shiva and Parvati are constructed. And actually, you can see here.
Sorry, Marge, your background of your background of your Google is blurring your vision. Sorry.
Yeah. Actually, what I will do is I'll forward to the group. I'll forward to the group, and then you can forward to others. Yes. Because Shri Kalahasti, the history of Kalahasti is actually I was making some an article actually. That time I read the Kalahasti. Shri Kalahasti temple is located in the town of Shri Kalahasti in Tirupati district in the state of Andhra Pradesh. It is one of the most famous Shiva temples in South India, and is said to be the site where Kannappa was ready to offer both of his eyes to cover his blood flowing from the linga before Shiva stopped him and granted him moksha, liberation. Shri Kalahasti temple, situated 36 kilometers away from Tirupati, so it takes about 1 hour, is famous for its Vayu Lingam, wind lingam, one of the Panchabhuta sthalams representing the wind. The temple is also regarded as Rahu Ketu Kshetra and Dakshin Kailasa. So there a lot of people were actually waiting there for performing Rahu and Ketu Puja. Understand? Because they were suffering from Rahu Dosham and Ketu Dosham. Now these are two malefic planets and people are afraid of them. So actually, like Srila Gurudev is telling, the moon, we say that there is first, second and third moon up to the full moon. It seems that there are 15 moons, but this is not true. There are not many moons. The moon is one. If you go very high in space, you'll see that the moon is always full. It is sometimes covered by another planet, namely by Rahu, and other times by Ketu. So it seems that there are 15 moons, but it is not so. Similarly, there is only one God although he has many manifestations. So Gurudev is telling, sometimes it's Rahu and sometimes the Ketu. Understand? They devour the moon and the sun, because they have an enmity. Because when the churning of the milk ocean was going on, the nectar emanated, and Rahu and Ketu, these demons, they wanted to drink this nectar. So Lord, in the shape of Mohini, chopped off the head of this Rahu. Rahu has the head and the Ketu is the torso, apparently. So these two demons, Rahu and Ketu. So their worship is done there, actually. But we don't have to worry about Rahu and Ketu, because we don't, because Krishna will always protect us. And actually, the planets, they don't give us trouble. It is our own karma that gives us trouble. So we have to get rid of our karma. Yastvendra kopa matavendra mahoso karma karman rupa phala bhajana mahatnoti karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti vajam govinda mahadi purusham tavam bhaja. Indra, the ruler of the heavenly planet, and Indra Gop, the insect, the red insect who's born in the rainy season, they all have to suffer from their bad karma or good karma. But devotees don't have to suffer. Understand? So, anyway, a lot of people were waiting there for Rahu and Ketu Puja, and it is called Dakshin Kailasam, the South Indian Kailash. The inner temple was constructed around 5th century, and the outer temple was constructed in the 11th century by the Rajendra Chola, later Chola kings and the Vijayanagar kings. Shiva, in his aspect as Vayu, is worshipped as Kalhastishwar. In primordial times, the wind called Vayu performed penances for thousands of years to the Karpura Lingam, the lingam of Shiva made of camphor. Pleased with Vayu's penance, Shiva manifested before him and bestowed him 3 boons. Vayu was blessed to present everywhere in the world in the form of air and wanted to be an integral part of every being in the form of Vayus. Further, the Linga Vayu worshipped was known as Vayu Lingam after him and was declared to be worshipped by various beings. So here, the Vayu asked Lord Shiva the boon that let me be present everywhere. And Lord Shiva says, so be it, you be present. So Bhagavad Gita also says that, Yatha Vayu Sarvatra Go Mahan, Tatha Sarvani Bhutani Matsthane Tupadhare. So this famous verse is as Sarva Bhutani, that particular verse says that this verse actually Sarva Bhutani Kaunteya, no, not that one. Vayu Sarvatra Go Mahan. Vayu Sarvatra Go Mahan. Tatha Sarvani Bhutani Masthane Tupadhare. So anyway, it's just like Vayu is all pervading. This is by the boon of Lord Shiva apparently. So Krishna is telling that I also pervade all the living entities. I am in the heart of all living entities and all living entities are within me. So anyway, this is called Vayu Lingam. Another legend narrates that Shiva's consort Parvati was cursed by him to discard her divine form and assume human form. To atone, Parvati performed penance of Shikalasti and pleased Shiva. Shiva granted her a heavenly body 100 times better than her previous divine form. Parvati is worshipped as Shiva Jnanam, Jnana Prasunamba or Jnana Prasunambika Devi in temple. So this is all legend actually. Actually, there was a great sage by the name Shri Vadiraj Tirtha. See, Vadiraj Tirtha, he actually wrote Tirtha Prabandham. Now, who's Vadiraj Tirtha? Vadiraj Tirtha was the same Brahmana who was deputed with the message of Rukmini. The Rukmini sent a message with that Brahmana messenger to Lord Krishna in Dwarka that my marriage is being fixed with Shishupal and I don't want to marry him. So please come and quickly kidnap me. So that Brahman who was sent by Rukmini and who went to Dwarka from Vidarbha province, Amravati, that Brahman again appeared in our Sampradaya as Vadiraj Tirtha. So Vadiraj Tirtha has written one great, he has written a great book about all the holy places in India. Most means all the important holy places in India. Like we are now doing this um, uh, particular Kartik Vrata, and generally devotees have gathered in Vrindavan now to do the Kartik Parikrama. Many devotees, many sannyasis have from different matas have gathered there. But Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj sometimes has to perform the Kartik Vrata in Naimisharanya, sometimes in Ayodhya, in different places. Understand? So Vadiraj Tirtha has written this particular wonderful book called Tirtha Prabandha. And, and in this Tirtha Prabandha, he has actually, I will forward that e-copy also to those who want it actually. The book originally is in Kannada, but it mentions so many holy places and their significance. So Shikala's description also comes there. And that would be more authentic because that is given by Sri Vadiraj Tirtha. Vadiraj Tirtha was devotee of Hayagriva. Hayagriva is the incarnation of God who has the horse head. Understand? And generally speaking, he used to offer chana or the grams fried in oil and I think covered with honey. And he used to keep a plate of, Vadiraj Tirtha used to keep a plate of chickpeas or chana soaked in honey. And Lord used to come and placed his 2 feet, the front feet on the shoulder of Vadiraj Tirtha and used to eat the chana. But one day the Lord didn't leave any Mahaprasad for him. He ate all the chanas, he ate all the chickpeas, scraps. So Vadiraj was very unhappy. He said, "Why, Lord, why you did so? Why you ate all the chickpeas today? You didn't keep even one for me as a Mahaprasad." They said, "Someone out of envy for you had poisoned the chickpeas. And I didn't want you to take the poisonous Mahaprasad." Understand? So anyways, Vadiraj Tirtha was incarnation of Sri Hayagriva, was the devotee of Sri Hayagriva, the horse-headed manifestation of Krishna. He has written the glories of Kalahasti in his Tirtha Prabandha. I will also forward that file also to you. Those who have time, they can read Tirtha Prabandha. Now, Tirtha Prabandha apparently is published by Tirupati Tirumala Devasthanam also. It's a small English book and you can read that also. So anyways, coming back to Kalahasti, Mayura, Chandra and Devendra were also freed from their curses after taking bath in the river Swarnamukhi, praying at Sri Kalahasti. Mayura means the peacock, Chandra means the moon, and Devendra means the Indra. They are also cursed and they were also freed because there's a holy river there, Swarnamukhi. Shiva appeared before the sage Markandeya in Sri Kalahasti and preached that a guru alone could make esoteric teachings and therefore he is Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara. Now, this is actually a very important verse in Vedic scriptures. We learned the first verse we learned, and one of the first verses we learned since our childhood. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Now, Guru is called Brahma, Guru is called Vishnu, and Guru is called Maheshwara. Now, these three things, that Guru is Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. Guru is like this. It has been told. But Srila Vaman Goswami Maharaj has told that Guru is called Brahma because Brahma's job is to create and Guru creates the bhakti in our heart. He plants the seed of devotion. That's why he is Brahma. He is also Vishnu because job of Vishnu is to maintain the creation. And Guru is Vishnu because he maintains the creeper of devotion in and guards the creeper of our devotion. And he's also Lord Shiva because Lord Shiva's job is to annihilate the world by opening the third eye. And he burns the whole material cosmos to ashes. And our Guru Maharaj is also Lord Shiva because he burns all the anarthas in our heart by his causeless mercy. Sometimes by chastisement and sometimes by sweet talk. So Guru is called Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. So Lord Shiva he told Markandeya. Markanda was actually the son of the great sage Mrukandu. Understand? Mrukandu. And this Markandeya was supposed to die in very young age, but apparently by when he was about to die, Lord Shiva protected him. Understand? Actually, the great sage Mrikanda Rishi and his wife Marudmati worshipped Shiva and sought from him the boon of begetting a son. As a result, he was given the choice of either the righteous son but with a short life on earth, or a child of low intelligence but with a long life. Mrikanda Rishi chose the former and was blessed with Markandeya, an exemplary son, destined to die at the age of 16. Means he was actually, he said, what is the use of having a non-devotee son, foolish uh, person as a son? Rather, I should have a short-lived son who is great devotee and intelligent person. So Markandeya grew up to be a great devotee of Lord Shiva, and on the day of his destined death, he continued his worship of Shiva in his uh, understand in his aniconic form of Shiva Lingam. Now this is a word, uniconic form, uniconic form of any aniconic form of. Now this is actually a difficult word to understand. Um, so, anyways, Lord Shiva is not formless, but he has this particular Shiva Linga form. The messengers of Yama, the god of death, were unable to take away his life because of his great devotion and continual worship of Shiva. Yama then came in person to take away Markandeya's life and sprung his noose around the young sage neck. So Yama has actually one noose, and it takes out our subtle body from our this thing, and that noose takes out the subtle body. So he wanted to take out the life of Markandeya, Yamraj. By accident or fate, the noose mistakenly landed around the Shiva Lingam, and out of it Shiva emerged in all by his fury, attacking Yama for his act of aggression. Understand? So when Yamaraj was trying to tie the noose around the subtle body of Markandeya, the noose tied around the Shiva Linga, and Lord Shiva came out furiously. Shiva emerged in all his fury, attacking Yama for his act of aggression. After defeating Yama in battle to the point of death, Shiva then revived him under the condition that the devout would live forever. For this act, Shiva was thereafter also known as Kalakanta, or Ender of Death, Kalantaka, or Ender of Death. This event is said to take place on the bank of the river Gomati in Kaiti, Varanasi. An ancient temple of Markandeya Mahadev temple is made at this place. It is the place where river Ganga and river Gomati merge, so being a Sangam area, its sacredness increases. Alternatively, another story states that this event happened in Kerala at the site of Tripragode Shiva temple, where the Markandeya ran up to the Shivalinga at the temple to escape from Yama. So both may be correct, because Gurudev has also told, and Shripat Dandiman also has told, that when such stories are there, some people say that it may have happened in Kashi, some people say that it may have happened in Kerala. Both may be correct, because in Kalpa Veda, in one day of Brahma, this pastime may have taken place at this place, other day of Brahma it may have taken at some other place. But Markandeya had a long lifespan boon from Shiva. He was going to live 7 days of Lord Brahma. Daytime was okay because there was creation was functioning properly, but night time was very, very troublesome for Markandeya, because he was simply floating in the water of the cosmic annihilation. In Pralaya waters, he was just swimming here and there. It was quite boring, very painful also. But Lord Shiva, Lord Krishna gave him the darshan. Lord Krishna sleeping on one golden people or banyan leaf, holy banyan leaf. Um, Lord Krishna was sucking his own toe, like a small form of a small child. And also he went floating to Navadvip, and Navadvip was still intact, because Navadvip is beyond this material world. And Surabhi dragged him out of the water and gave him hot milk to drink. And Surabhi cow, mother Surabhi, instructed him to worship Gauranga, and then he had darshan of Gauranga. So anyways, this Kalasi temple also connected with Lord Shiva. Understand? So, So Shiva apparently was worshipped here by Markandeya here. So many stories are there about these things. Um, so, anyways, Bhagavad also describes the Markandeya. A tale from Bhagavad Puran states that one sage Markandeya visited Narayan Rishi and asked him for a boon. Markandeya prayed to the sage uh, Narayan to show him his illusory power or Maya, since sages Nara Narayan are incarnation of Supreme Lord Narayan. To fulfill his wish, Lord Vishnu appeared in the form of a child floating on a leaf and declared to the sage that he was time and death. Sage Markandeya entered into his mouth and saved himself from the surging waters. Inside the boy's stomach, Markandeya discovered all the worlds, the seven regions, and the seven oceans. The mountains and the kingdoms were all there. So we are all living beings. Markandeya did not know what to make out of all this. He started to pray to Lord Vishnu. No sooner had he started than he came out of the boy's mouth. Lord Vishnu now appeared before him and blessed him. The sage spent 1,000 years with Lord Vishnu. He then composed Bala Mukunda Ashtakam at this moment. He taught Bhishma duties of yatis, the sages, the sannyasis. When Bhishma was in the bed of arrows, Markandeya visited him along with other sages. So you see that at the time of cosmic annihilation, you see that Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna was lying in the shape of a small baby. And then to show him further of his Maya, Lord Krishna opened his mouth and then he took Markandeya inside. Markandeya saw inside his mouth what was inside the mouth of Lord Krishna. Everything, all the material creation. The seven regions, seven islands, and the seven oceans, everything was there. Mountains and kingdoms, everything was there. In this way, then he prayed to Lord Krishna, then Krishna released him from his mouth. Then he actually wrote one stotra called Bala Mukunda Ashtakam. This is a very famous stotram, and this is generally in Bhagavad Katha, this Bala Mukunda Ashtakam is sung. Kararavindeena mukharavindam विनिवेशयन्तम् वटस्य पुत्रस्य वटस्य पत्रस्य पुते शयानम् बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि करारविन्देन मुखारविन्दम् पदारविन्देन विनिवेशयन्तम् करारविन्देन पदारविन्दम् मुखारविन्दे विनिवेशयन्तम् वटश्च पत्रस्य पुटे शयानम् बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि संवृत्तलोकान् वटपत्रमध्ये शयानमात्यन्तवीनरूपम् सर्वेश्वरं सर्वहितावतारं बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि इन्दीवरश्यामलकोमलाङ्गम् इन्द्रादिदेवार्चितपादपद्मम् सन्तानकल्पद्रुममाश्रितानां padam mukundam manasa smarami. Lord Krishna's bodily complexion is compared to the blue lotus, and his lotus feet are worshipped by the demigods such as Indra. Lamba lakam lambitaharayashtim shrangara leelam kitadanta panktim bimbadaram charu vishala netram balam mukundam manasa smarami. Lord Krishna's lips are reddish like the bimba fruit, and he has very big eyes. Shikke nidayadyapayoda dini Vahirgataya vrajanayikayam bhuktam yatishtam kapatena suptam balam mukundam manasa smarami. Markandeya Rishi is remembering the childhood pastimes of Krishna, that how Krishna is stealing the butter and milk products when the gopis have gone out of their houses. Kalindajanta stita karyasya fanagrarange natana priyantam Tapuchhastam Sharadenduvatram Balam Mukundam Manasa Smarami. Now he's remembering a particular pastime of Krishna where Krishna danced on the hoods of Kaliya, and he took the tail of Kaliya in his hand. You'll see a picture of Krishna dancing on the hoods of Kaliya, and he's also having the tail of Kaliya in his hand. and his face is like the moon in the autumn season. Ulu khale baddha mudara shauryam uttunga yugmarjuna bhanga leelam utfulla padmayata charunetram balam mukundam manasa smarami. When Krishna was bound to the grinding mortar, he pulled the grinding mortar between two twin Arjuna trees, and came out from these two Arjuna trees, the two sons of Kubera, um, Yamalarjun trees. Two sons of Kubera came out and they were delivered. This pastime also is remembered. Alokyamatur mukamadarena stanyam pibantam sarasirvaksham sachinmayam devam anantarupam balam mukundam manasa smarami. This is actually describing how Krishna is drinking the breast milk of Mother Yashoda. His eyes are very like lotus. So he is the great Lord. I worship that great Lord, Bala Mukundam. Balam Mukundam Manasa Smara. So I think this is a very famous stotra written by Maharishi. So it was actually a great experience at Karasti. Tomorrow we went for preaching there also. And there are actually so many temples in this region of Tirupati, Tirumala region. Srikalahasti temple, and Tiruchennavar is the place where Padmavati Devi's temple is there. So many temples are there. So when you come next time to India, please do visit Tirupati, Srikalahasti, other temples. I'm sure you'll very much appreciate the architecture, the history, and so many nice things you can see actually. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhuvati patanam padika Vishnu. Hare Krishna. Anyone have any questions? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Ardhanavat France. Thank you so much. Any questions, devotees? Okay, I don't think there's any questions, Marsh. Thank you so much for always coming on and taking up your time. Really appreciate it. And dear devotees, don't forget, tomorrow is Shripad Bhaktivedanta Dandi Maharaj's class, 12:30 India time, and also Madhurya Kadambini class at 8:30 in the evening with Shripad Bhaktivedanta Vishnu Daivata Maharaj. So please do come for both programs. Thank you, Hare Krishna, and thank you again, Maharaj, for coming on. Anup, can we please have Jai Diwani? Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Radha Vinod Bihari Ji ki Jai. Om Vishnu Pada Tutar Shri Shri Madhavati Vedanta Vishnu Devi Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Om Vishnu Pada Stotra Shata Shri Shri Madhavati Vedanta Gandhi Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Vishnu Vishnu Pada Shata Shri Madhavati Vidandana Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Om Vishnu Pada Stotra Shata Shri Shri Madhavati Vedanta Vamana Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Om Vishnu Parastu Tarasata Shri Shri Madhavati Vedanta Swami Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai
Vishnu Vishnu Parastu Tarasata Shri Shri Madhavati Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai Jai.
नित्यलीला प्रविष्टो विष्णु पारस्तोतरशतः श्री शील भारती सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय।
जय
परम भगवत प्रभारा श्री श्री गौर किशोरदास बाबा जी महाराज की जय। श्री शील सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय।
जय
वैष्णव सर्वभौमा श्री शील जगन्नाथ बाबा जी महाराज
महाराज की जय।
दिया वेदांत आचार्य श्री शील बलदेव विद्याभूषण प्रभु की जय। श्रील चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर की जय। श्रील नरोत्तम श्यामानंद प्रभु त्राय की जय। श्री कृष्ण कविराज गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। श्री रूप
जय जय जय
दातार रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल पाद दास रघुनाथ सत गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंद दी श्री गौर प्रसाद वृंद की जय।
की जय।
हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से घोष कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। शंकर द्वीपायपुर सीमांतद्वीप गोद्रुमद्वीप मध्याद्वीप पोलद्वीप ऋतुद्वीप जानुद्वीप मोद्रद्रुमद्वीप रोदद्वीप पद्मकार श्री श्री राधा कृष्णा गोपा गोपी गोवर्धन द्वादश वनात्मकार श्री व्रजमंडल की जय। श्री राधा गंगा यमुना तुलसी भक्ति देव की जय। की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माय की जय। श्री गोपी शिवार देव की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्र सुदर्शन चक्र जी की जय। श्री की जय। सर्व विघ्न विनाशकारी श्री नरसिंहदेव की जय। भक्त प्रभा प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। शारदाम की जय। चार संप्रदाय की जय।
जय जय जय
अकर्मतराज श्री चैतन्य मात की जय। श्री श्री
जय जय जय
उदीयमान भूत सकवात्सव वाकी ग्रंथ श्रीमत की जय। श्री हरिनाम की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। भगवत वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेम हरि हरि बोल।
हरि निताय गौर ब्रह्मानंदे हरि बोल। श्रीमद प्रभु जी की जय। समस्त वैष्णव वृंद की जय। निताय गौर ब्रह्मानंदे।
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams. Thank you, Maharaj, so much. Sripad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj ki jai. Maharaj ki jai. Vanshakalpatarubhyascha Kritasya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah Vaishnavibhyo. Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Dandavat pranams.
Thank
See you
you.
all.
Thank you,
Hari Bol.
Shakati.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hari
That was.
Dhanyavad.
Hari Bol. That was.